What is up, everybody? I was not going to go live for the Champions League draw reaction because we know it is just a bunch of nonsense. I am saving my energy for the World Cup draw, which is later in December. But we have our draw. So here we are, people. We're going to talk about the winners, the losers, and the best matchups that we might see in the Champions League phase of this season. And of course, if you are new to this channel, consider subscribing because we're going to have so much content on the Champions Leagues. We're going to talk about the dark horses. We're going to talk about the contenders, the favorites. How will the top four teams do? How will the newcomers do, like Pavos, Kairat? How will Bodo Glimt do in their first season? What about Royal Union Saint-Gilloise? How will they do? Can Club Brugge do a madness again? We're going to have so much content on the Champions League. So if you love that sort of stuff, this is the channel to be because you guys know I don't just talk about the big teams. We talk about Olympiacos. We'll talk about PSV. We'll talk about how bad Ajax are going to be this season because I really fear for my Ajax guys. So remember to hit the like button. This is going to be about a 50-minute to an hour show here. So the most important thing to do is hit the like button. And shout out to Jeff right away with a super chat saying, Daddy Mikey is back. God bless. Jeff, I haven't been gone. Have you guys been seeing all the content here on the channel, all the videos and all the shorts? I mean, we got so much content for you people here on Michael Talks Football channel. But big up to you, Jeff, for your kind donation. And do not call me that word ever again. I swear to God. Big up to Curtis. How are you doing? Big up to Yosore. Big up to Anthony. How you doing, bro? Every time you post a video, it gets me blushing and giggling. Shout out to you, Anthony. Thank you for the kind words. Big up to Ralph. Big up to Rock Gaming. Big up to Alex. Yeah, we're going to talk about some of these as well. Wait, what? Wait, what? Wait. Huh? Is this true, people? Is Voltamot going to Newcastle? All right, we're going to talk about it. Big up to DMGV as well. Big up to Mo and big up to Luis Mina. How are you all doing? So, everybody, if you're watching on replay, give me your thoughts in the comments down below. Which team is the biggest winner so far of this draw? Who is the biggest loser? And which matchup is the best? And also, who's got the worst draw possible? Oh, I cannot wait. Big up to Arda. Wait, hold up. Okay, before we start, I need to check this out. Wait, what? Voltamot to Newcastle? Since when? Wait, what? Oh, hey, we got breaking news here, people. I just need to quickly check this out because this could be a lot of information. Oh my God, breaking news. Nick Voltamot to Newcastle. Here we go. Agreement. 80 million euros. Wow. You know what that means? Oh, Alexander Isak. Oh, Alexander Isak. Oh, he's actually going to Liverpool. I cannot believe Liverpool actually have oil money. This is a madness. All right, let's get to the draw reaction, people, and talk about the biggest winners and losers from, I think you guys can see it like that. Yeah, we'll do it like this. This is actually good. Then everybody can see the pots here. I just had some quick notes here, kind of just drawing down which teams I thought were the winners and losers from each pot. So in pot one, I think Chelsea got a great draw. Yes, they're going to play Barcelona at home, but, you know, these are the world champions. The world champions cannot be scared of any opponent. If you are the world champs, the big champs of the world, you want to play against Barcelona. You want to go away to Bayern Munich. But if you look at the rest of their draw, okay, you're playing Benfica at home. I expect Chelsea to beat Benfica, even though the Enzo Fernandez derby, Atalanta away. Look, Atalanta are not the same team. If it was Gasperini, I would be like, hey, Chelsea, you're going to have a tough game against Atalanta. It's Juric. I'm sorry, he's not a good manager. They haven't sufficiently backed him, and they're still going to go with Scamacca, who's a good player, but Atalanta have not done enough business in this window to be a scary team and to really back Juric. So I think Chelsea, then you got Ajax at home. That's going to be a 3 points. Napoli away. I mean, it's Conte, but it is Conte in Europe. So how much do you want to take that into stock about that matchup? I think it's a good test for Chelsea as they're a young team going away to a very hostile environment in Napoli. I think that's a good game for them. Then they got Pavos and Karabakh. I'm looking at this for Chelsea. I'm looking at a possible draw with Barcelona, maybe an L to a draw against Bayern Munich, win versus Benfica, win versus Atalanta, win versus Ajax. That Napoli game can go either way. And then Pavos and Karabakh are all 3 points. So I think Chelsea got a really good draw here. And obviously, there's a lot of expectation, I think, on Chelsea for the Champions League this season to go far and progress and maybe even make it to the semifinal final because of what they did at the Club World Cup. And I always say this about Chelsea heading into this season. They're not going to be like amazing in the league because they might show some inconsistent flares. But in the cup competitions, I think Chelsea are going to do really well. So I'm looking at Chelsea, and I think they are one of the biggest winners of this draw so far. Then another winner, Barcelona. I mean, PSG at home, Guys, when we talk about the best matchups, we got it. The Barcelona PSG matchup. Everybody wanted that Champions League final. Well, we're going to see it in the league phase. Cannot wait. Dembele returning to hopefully the Camp Nou, if it is going to be the Camp Nou, because we have no clue if Barcelona going to play there. So Barcelona PSG. Money. Chelsea, then going Chelsea away. Then you're hosting Eintracht Frankfurt. You're going away to Club Brugge, Olympiacos, Slavia Praha, FC Copenhagen. And then Newcastle away. I think it's going to be a fascinating clash of styles where Newcastle, physical team. We saw what they did against Liverpool. And I really feel bad for Newcastle, even though I'm a Liverpool fan of, because Newcastle are just a gritty team. And you're a gritty side at home at St. James's Park against Barcelona. For me, that's going to be one of the best matchups. We saw what Newcastle did when they returned to the Champions League with Eddie Howe. I thought they were actually really good. And, other than that late penalty they gave up against PSG. So I think Barcelona, they got a good draw. And I'm looking at here for Barcelona win versus PSG, draw, win, loss against Chelsea, win versus Frankfurt, win versus Club Brugge, Olympiacos win, Slavia Praha win, FC Copenhagen win. Newcastle can go either way. So, yeah, I think Barcelona are another winner of this draw. And then I'm going to talk about some losers here. My biggest loser, maybe of this entire competition, possibly, is Borussia Dortmund. And remember last year, Borussia Dortmund got a really favorable draw, and that's how they got into, I think it was the top 8. Yeah, but Dortmund got into the top 8 of the Champions League. But this time around, or did they? Yeah, I think they did. I can't remember quite so well. Dortmund have Inter at home, Man City away, Villarreal at home. Villarreal are a good team. Juventus away, Bodo Glimt at home. I think that's okay for Dortmund, because Bodo Glimt are just not that same side away from home. Spurs away. Athletic Club at home. FC Copenhagen away. Oh my God, I just realized Moukoko is going to go up against Dortmund after they just sold him to FC Copenhagen. All of the narratives are already building for this Champions League phase. So I think this is going to be a quite difficult draw for Dortmund. Do I see them making it into the top 8 of the Champions League this season? Not really. I think they're going to be a playoff team this time around, and that's going to be really unfortunate for them. Oh yeah, they went up against Leo. So they did. Who did they beat in the playoff round? Who did Dortmund beat in the playoff round, people? Sporting. They beat Sporting in the playoff round. Now I remember. Yeah, thank you, Curtis. So yeah, this is a tough draw for Dortmund. I think they are one of the losers overall in this Champions League, because you're going up against Inter. Yes, it's not the same Inter side under Inzaghi, but we don't know. They still got quality. They still made it to the Champions League final, people. So nobody can just write off Dortmund and saying, "Oh yeah, it's done." Oh no, for Inter, they're just gonna fall off. No, Inter are still a quality team. You're going away to Man City. We know what Man City are. Villarreal at home. I think that's going to be a really fun matchup and clash of kits. What kit are Villarreal going to wear on that day? I think they have like a third kit, which is blue this time around. Juventus away, it could be like a 50-50 game. So, yeah, I think for Dortmund, it's a pretty tough draw. Then the other one from pot 1 that I'm really looking, oh man, again, they get a tough draw, is Paris Saint-Germain, the defending champions. I think this is a back shot at PSG. Okay, maybe you have it too easy in the league, even though Ligue 1 is pretty tough nowadays. I know they lose a lot of talent, but still, Ligue 1 is a tough league. But PSG got Bayern Munich, Barcelona, Atalanta at home, should be a win. Bayer Leverkusen away, Spurs at home, Sporting away, Newcastle at home, and Athletic Club away. That's not easy again for PSG. Remember, PSG almost barely didn't even make it to the playoff last season because of the tough draw they had. This time around, again, they have a tough draw. Again, they play Bayern Munich, even though this time they're going to host Bayern Munich. I think for PSG, maybe win, draw versus Bayern. I think it's going to be an L this time around against Barcelona. They should be beating Atalanta. Bayer Leverkusen away. Let's see if Erik ten Hag is going to cook something up here. Spurs. Maybe Thomas Frank has something in plan, and obviously they just faced each other in the Super Cup. Sporting away can always be difficult. Newcastle home, they're just going to be super defensive, I think, Newcastle. And then Athletic Club away. Not an easy draw, I think, for PSG, but they are the defending Champions League champions. So this is not going to be, you're not going to get a walk in the park, and maybe that's like the supposed computerized draw for them. Nah, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Otherwise, I'm looking at these for the pot 1 teams, and yeah, I think Inter got a pretty decent draw. Yeah, they have some tough opponents in the pot 2 with Arsenal, Atleti, but they still got Slavia Praha, Ajax, Kairat, and Royal Union Saint-Gilloise. I think that's pretty comfortable for Inter. I think they can deal with that situation. Bayern, again, is not that difficult for Bayern. Yeah, they got Chelsea, PSG. At least they got Club Brugge at home. Arsenal away, I think that's going to be a really fun matchup to see how Bayern Munich and Arsenal go toe-to-toe with each other. Man City, I would say difficult. You have Dortmund at home. That should be 3 points. Again, why are they so obsessed with giving us Real Madrid and Manchester City? How many years in a row have we seen this, people? How many years? It's just jarring at this point. We don't want to see this matchup. Then they go, oh, Erik ten Hag returns to Manchester. Nice one. Villarreal away. That should be a fun matchup. Conte, oof. Ooh. Oh my God. KDB is returning. KDB is returning to Manchester City. Too many narratives, people. There's too many narratives. Come on here. Bodo Glimt away. That game I'm so looking forward to. You don't understand. Manchester City go. I hope that game is in January or in December, because you know how fucking cold it is in Bodo? I'm sorry for my language. You know how cold it is? Pep will cry about the cold. He will cry about the artificial turf. So Manchester City going away to Bodo Glimt is football heritage for me. It is football heritage. If people want to complain about traveling all the way to Kazakhstan, Manchester City going away to Bodo is what football is about. And you know what? I need to try and go to that game, because I just something about all of the rise of Bodo and getting from the second division and now hosting Manchester City and one of the greatest managers of all time. If I'm Manchester City, I would be a little bit worried about that matchup. I know Bodo Glimt should be losing that game, but Man City we haven't seen the sensational Man City that we have in the past. Then they're hosting Galatasaray and going away to Monaco. Overall, not an easy draw, I would say, for Manchester City. But, are they going to be a top 8 team again? Time will tell with my predictions. Then Real Madrid, they got Manchester City, Liverpool, Juventus, Benfica away, Marseille at home, Olympiacos away, Monaco at home. And yes, Real Madrid are traveling all the way to Kazakhstan. No, and it's all the way east to the Chinese border for Real Madrid. This is what football's about, people. I think people need to understand, obviously some content creators, some people out there, they're just going to poo-poo the idea. Oh, how did Kairat make it to this? Do you know who Kairat have beaten to get to this stage? They have beaten Champions League league phase teams from last season, Slovan Bratislava and Celtic. So no doubt about it, Kairat deserved to be here. And the fact that now they're going to host Real Madrid of all teams. Hey, Kairat, shout out to them for getting this. And for Real Madrid, how long is that flight? That flight has to be 10 hours. 10 to 12 hours minimum. Oh, and the cold. And I hope, like I said for the Bodo game, I hope Real Madrid are going to Kazakhstan in January, because that would make it even sweeter to watch all of that fixtures. Okay, and then otherwise, yeah, Liverpool, pretty difficult, actually. Real Madrid, Inter, Atleti, Frankfurt, PSV, Marseille, Karabakh, Galatasaray. That's not easy either, but I'm going to be honest here. The two biggest losers for me from pot 1 are Dortmund and PSG, and the biggest winners, no doubt about it, are Chelsea and Barcelona. I think they got really good draws to go far and be a top 2 or top 3 seed in this league phase. But yeah, let's see. We're going to get some good matchups, and obviously I'm going to go through my overall best matchups at the end of the stream. But now let's talk about pot 2 here, people. Let's talk about pot 2 here. Let me just get it up here for everybody to see. If it's there. Nope, that's the wrong one. Of course it is. There we go. That's the right one. Now we can get up. All right. See, I haven't done this in a while, people. I don't usually live stream anymore, so this is kind of a once-in-a-lifetime moment for you all you viewers. Big up to Red Devil. Hey, thanks for the kind donation, buddy. Really, really appreciate it. It says, really good matchups here, better than last year. Yeah, I would say so. I would say overall it's better than last year. I mean, I'm really excited for Barcelona PSG. I think that's going to be fire. And then Liverpool and Real Madrid, of course, Trent. You just know this bullshit computerized nonsense was not going to happen. They were going to send Trent back to Anfield and getting the treatment like Cersei did in Game of Thrones. Shame, shame, shame. You knew that was going to happen, RDS. So, of course, Liverpool are going to host Real Madrid in one game. It's going to be awesome to see what sort of reaction he's going to get. And obviously, I don't have any hatred towards Trent as a Liverpool fan, but I mean, some idiots online and maybe some idiots at the stadium are not going to give him such favorable treatment. But yeah, it's going to be hostile for Trent, that's for sure. Or is Xabi Alonso going to protect him and start Carvajal? Narratives. Big up RDS though for the kind donation. Really, really appreciate it. Remember to hit the like button if you haven't done so already. Big up to RDS and big up to Jeff for the kind donation. So then pot 2. Who did I have for pot 2 winners and losers? Okay. Losers in pot 2. Oh man, Benfica. Benfica or pot? No, Benfica or pot 2. Benfica. Shout out to all my Benfica fans out there. They got Real Madrid. They got Chelsea away. Those are 2 losses. Yeah, those are 2 losses. Bayer Leverkusen at home. Maybe that could be a win. Juventus away, like again, it's similar to like Real Madrid and Manchester City. Every year it seems like it's Benfica versus Juventus. It's the greatest love story going on right now. Then they're hosting Napoli. That's going to be tough. Going away to Ajax. They're hosting Karabakh, so that's at least a victory. And they're going away to Newcastle. I did just put on Twitter, remember to follow me on all the socials, people. I put that, yeah, if Benfica Newcastle would be a fun matchup because that's a game like you would never imagine to see, but it's always one that because if Benfica go away to Newcastle and beat them, oh, Liga Portugal is up. And then Premier League's in the mud, which I'll be there for. But I think that's a really fun matchup to see how Bruno Lage and Benfica can really handle. And the battle of like such contrasting midfields like Enzo Barrenechea and Richard Arias going up against that midfield for Newcastle. That's a game to watch. But I think overall Benfica got a really tough draw here. And I think they're one of the biggest losers overall alongside Dortmund in this Champions League draw reaction. And then Club Brugge, another team I think that had got an absolutely hellacious draw here. Barcelona at home, Bayern Munich away. Arsenal at home, again they face Atalanta, then they're playing Marseille at home, Sporting away, Monaco at home, and they travel all the way to Kazakhstan and play Kairat. Yeah, I don't think this is going to be favorable at all for Club Brugge, even though they've been such a good team in Europe in the last couple of years. I think if they make it to the playoffs this time around, I think that would be a sensational achievement because they would have to beat Atalanta away, they would have to beat Marseille at home, Monaco at home, and maybe Kairat away. If they do that, that should be enough for them to get into the playoffs. But we already know, and I already talked about it, that Club Brugge have lost a lot of players this summer, but somehow the academy and the recruitments are always cooking. But this would be a great achievement if they can get over the line. That time will tell, though, on that front. And then a winner, actually another loser, would probably be Eintracht Frankfurt in the draw reaction because Eintracht Frankfurt are hosting Liverpool, going away to Barcelona. Hey, remember what happened in the Europa League? Although maybe this time Frankfurt fans will not overtake the entire Camp Nou or Montjuic, wherever the game is going to be played. Then they're hosting Atalanta, going away to Atleti, home to Spurs, away to Napoli, home to Galatasaray, which is going to be a lot of Turkish fans there, and away to Karabakh. Yeah, Frankfurt, after losing Ekitike, Marmoush, all these players. Yes, Jonathan Burkhardt is an unbelievable player. I love Hugo Larsson in the midfield, but this is a tough draw for Eintracht Frankfurt. I don't want to give away my prediction, but they could beat Atalanta. They could beat Spurs, and that's a revenge game after the quarterfinal in the Europa League last year. They could beat Galatasaray because Galatasaray away from home are not that same team as at home, and Karabakh away. Yeah, that's not easy at all for Eintracht Frankfurt. They might be one of the biggest losers in this draw as well, alongside Benfica. And then when we talk about teams that have done really well with this draw and big winners, I think Arsenal with Bayern Munich at home, going away to the San Siro again, hosting Atleti. Oh man, Arteta versus Diego Simeone. Oh boy, that's going to be corner FC, set piece FC all day. And then away to Club Brugge, hosting Olympiacos, away to Slavia Praha, home to Kairat, so they avoided going that crazy long distance all the way to Kazakhstan, and away to Athletic Club. I think Arsenal got a pretty good draw, and again, they can make it into the top 8. I think Arsenal can get into a top 8 position here with that draw. It's not difficult, and with all the money they have spent, and we know that Arsenal can play good football when they want to, and all of the amazing players they have with Erdegaard, with obviously Saka, if he's going to be healthy, with Saliba, Gabriel. So, look, Arsenal have a really good team. So I'm expecting them to get a top 8 finish based on that fixture list. And I think they got a massive draw. And then Atalanta. Now, look, Atalanta, I'm not a big fan of Juric, so I'm going to put it out there. So I'm kind of looking at these fixtures in that context that it's Juric. It's not the same Atalanta. So getting this sort of draw helps them a lot with Chelsea at home, PSG away, Club Brugge at home, Frankfurt away, Slavia Praha at home, Marseille away, Athletic Club at home, Royal Union Saint-Gilloise. Even you're Atalanta, you're a Serie A team. You should still be making it into the playoffs based on that draw. Top 8, that's a bit of a stretch. At least the playoffs. The playoffs at least for Atalanta. That should be guaranteed based on that draw. If they can't do it, I'm sorry, you have to sack Juric. And you have to go then hire Thiago Motta. Why they didn't do that in the summer, I don't know. They should have done that in the first place. They didn't. And now let's see how they're going to do with this draw. But I think Atalanta, they got a very favorable draw considering where they are at as a club. I think another winner is Juventus because Juventus got Dortmund at home. They should be winning that game. Obviously, we'll see how Dortmund's form is into that matchup. Away to Real Madrid, that should be an L. Benfica at home, I mean, they just play all the time against each other. Villarreal away is a game I'm really looking forward to. I think Juventus versus Villarreal is going to be a fun matchup. Bayer Leverkusen at home. No, sorry. Sporting at home, Bodo Glimt away, Pavos at home, Monaco away. I think Juventus got a good draw to get into the playoffs, maybe push into the top 8, depending on how they're going to play and what sort of signings they can get at the end of the window. If they could get another defender because they desperately need to give some help to Bremer, who just returned from an ACL injury. I think this is a good draw for Juventus. They should be pushing at least for top 10, top 12 based on that draw. Yeah, you're only going to maybe face one guaranteed loss in that 8 games, which is Real Madrid away. Otherwise, it should be wins. It should be wins. So I think Juventus got a good draw considering last year they were a playoff team and they had to go away to PSV and bottled it. So yeah, I think it's a really good draw for Juventus. Yeah, I think that's about everything for the pot 2 teams. So which teams do you think really benefited from this pot, people? I think Arsenal, Juventus, I think they got some good draws here so far. As we go into the pot 3 then. Let's go to the pot 3 here. Let's see what you all are saying in the chat as well. I'm a Man City fan, Sudan fan, looking forward to World Cup qualifiers. 100%, bro, 100%. I think Liverpool's fixtures are okay, but I'm expecting Liverpool to get to the top 8, as we should, as always. Juve have a good evening. Nightmares from Villarreal. Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, when Villarreal made it to the semifinals. Yeah, Club Brugge, PSV. Who did PSV have? Or is it in this pot 3? It's in the pot 3, so we'll check out PSV's fixtures. All right, let's check out now the next one. Atleti and... Wait, are they returning? Oh, no, man. Are they returning to Liverpool? Oh, no. At least Morata is not playing. At least he's not with that team anymore. Otherwise, that would be full PTSD. And if I had to see Adrian in goal, then I would go into PTSD mode if that happened. All right, let's then look at pot 3. Big up to Rui. Says, yes, bring them. Benfica wants to play with the best team. Juve will still think they will win against us. Hey, Rui, man, it should be a good game. I mean, Benfica and Juventus always play against each other. I wanted to see something new. Not this game again. I don't want to see Real Madrid Man City for the 100th time again. Come on, man. We got to see something new here. So let's look at the pot 3 teams. Who did I have for a big winner here in the pot 3? Oh, yeah. Oh, Spurs. I think Spurs got a pretty good draw because they avoided a lot of big teams in pot 2. They got Dortmund. They got PSG away, which obviously is the revenge game from the Super Cup. Home, Villarreal. Away to Frankfurt. Revenge from the Europa League for Frankfurt. Slavia Praha at home. Again, a rematch against Bodo Glimt. Then FC Copenhagen home in Monaco. I think for Thomas Frank, his first season in European football as a manager, I think this is pretty good. But it's going to be interesting to see how Spurs are really going to balance European football with the Premier League because their squad isn't big enough. They need signings in the forward line. You cannot go with Brennan Johnson, Richarlison for an entire season. You need some attacking quality there. You need a number 10. But based on this fixtures, I think if you're Spurs, you can push for a top 8 finish. You can. You can beat Dortmund at home. Away at PSG, going to be tough, man. Parc des Princes is a very tough environment nowadays. Home Villarreal, that's going to be a great game, though. That's going to be a great game. Frankfurt away. Maybe Frankfurt want to get some revenge. Obviously, Slavia Praha should be a win. Bodo Glimt away. It's going to be tough, as I think Spurs fans know. Then FC Copenhagen at home. Pretty good draw for Spurs. I think Thomas Frank will be happy. I think Spurs fans will be happy that they can at least push for a top 8. If not a top 8, then you can get like 10 to 12, that sort of range. Based on those fixtures, that should be the objective, I think, for Spurs in this Champions League phase. Then another winner for me is actually Napoli. Shout out to Coco. Says, as a Napoli fan, I'm a little bit nervous about these matchups. Hopefully Conte does his magic. So I'm looking at these fixtures for Napoli, and we know Antonio Conte is, I mean, in the Champions League, that guy, oh man, it's just not good. I think he's made it once, if I'm not mistaken, once to the quarterfinal. Antonio Conte, who we all praise as one of the greatest league managers of all time, he can do nothing in the Champions League. But absolutely elite in the league. Chelsea at home. Good game. Antonio Conte facing his old side. Then Man City away. I don't know why. I feel like it's going to be a KDB masterclass and a Conte masterclass, and Napoli beat Manchester City. Oh, it's going to be great to see KDB return, and obviously he will get a great reception back. Frankfurt at home, that should be a victory for Napoli. Come on, man. If you're Napoli, I know Frankfurt are a good side. Napoli should be winning that game. There is no excuses there for Antonio Conte. Away to Benfica. I think that's going to be great based on the midfields for both teams. Sporting at home, you would expect Napoli to win that game. PSV away, tough, because PSV are still a good side. Karabakh at home, Aston Villa. I think for Antonio Conte and Napoli, this is a dream draw. You obviously got two Premier League sides, tough, but you still got Frankfurt, Benfica, Sporting, PSV. If you're Napoli, the objective should be with Antonio Conte, you spent big money this summer to add depth to the team because last season you didn't really have it, and that's why Antonio Conte basically fielded the entire B team in the Coppa Italia, threw that away and focused on the league, and it worked out. 100% it worked out. Now Conte and Napoli should be saying to themselves, as one of the winners of this draw, hey, we can push for a top 8 finish. That will help on Antonio Conte. If you want to help your team, actually for this season, you should be aiming for top 8. And on that, based on this draw, I think they can do it because now they have depth in their forward line, in the midfield, defensively. They got multiple players in each position, except maybe the right back because Di Lorenzo is really the only right back at the moment. But I think this is a really good draw for Antonio Conte. There is no excuses. This guy cannot finish outside, I want to say, the top 20 based on this draw. If Conte finishes 22 to 23 with this Napoli team, with this draw, I think that's a failure. I think that's a big, big failure. So I don't expect it, and I think Napoli got a really favorable draw here. Then let's talk about some losers from this pot. I think PSV. Look, PSV, I'm not the biggest fan of Peter Bosz, as many of you know, but based on this draw, this is going to be tough to get like into a top 15, even maybe top 20 finish, I think, for PSV. Bayern Munich at home, Liverpool away, Atleti at home, Bayer Leverkusen away, Erik ten Hag. Oh my God, we're going to have the ball Dutch derby in that game. Oh my God. Of course, we're going to have that going on there. Then Napoli at home, Olympiacos away, Royal Union Saint-Gilloise at home. So that's good. You know what? That's a great matchup. Getting PSV versus Royal Union Saint-Gilloise. Who is the better league? We're going to have that debate settled in that game. Is it the Eredivisie or the Belgian league? Because those are the two champions of the respective leagues. I think that's going to be great to just kind of secure one little narrative based on this draw and Newcastle away. Yeah, I think this is going to be tough for PSV. I really look at this draw. I'm like, you're facing Atleti, you're facing Bayern Munich, Liverpool, Napoli, Bayer Leverkusen away, Newcastle away, Olympiacos away. Oh boy! Oh my God! Yep, Mo, you're right. No longer returning to PSV. How many returns are we going to see this season? Fantastic. So yeah, I think for PSV this is tough because you kind of wanted to get a little bit more favors in the pot 2 and the pot 3. They're like, nope, you're going away to Athens. Nope, you're going away to Bayer Leverkusen. You're going to host Napoli. You're going to host Atleti. Boy, oh boy, this is not going to be pretty for Peter Bosz. But if PSV want to be like a competitive team, and I think for last season, they did really well to reach the round of 16 and obviously got humiliated by Arsenal. But considering all the injuries they had, the fact they made it to the round of 16 of the Champions League and won the Eredivisie thanks to Ajax, I think this time around, PSV can do better. I think PSV can do a little bit better. It's just such a difficult draw for them. It really is. And another loser, I think, from this pot is Sporting. Because Sporting got PSG, Bayern Munich, Club Brugge at home, Juventus away, Marseille at home, Napoli away, Kairat at home. So at least they avoided going away to Kazakhstan and going away to Athletic Club. Look, Sporting had a great start to last season's league phase, and then look what happened in the end. They just fizzled out, and there was nothing at the end for Sporting. And this time around, even though Luis Suarez, and maybe they're trying to sign another forward player during this transfer window, but based on this draw, I think Sporting's objective should be like 16 to 24. Just kind of narrowly make it into the playoffs. But this is a hellacious draw. Really, really tough. Like going away to two Serie A clubs, going away to Bayern Munich, and hosting PSG. That could automatically be 4 losses, I think, for Sporting. So yeah, difficult draw for them. And they don't have like the greatest quality at this moment in time. While they're still playing good football, and I think Luis Suarez is a very good striker. Yeah, this is not going to be... I think the Portuguese clubs really got the tough tough draws for both of them. I think Lisbon, I don't know what you guys did to UEFA, but something, because it didn't work out at all. And then the last team, I think, from this pot that got a pretty difficult draw, but maybe their fans will be happy about it because just being in this moment is Bodo Glimt. I think Bodo Glimt getting Manchester City at home, wonderful. Away to Dortmund. Hey, look, yellow and gold, yellow and black. They're just going to... What kit is Bodo Glimt going to away from home? I guess they have a white kit, if I'm not mistaken. Juventus at home. Eesh. I mean, it's great to see Juventus travel all the way to the Arctic Circle, and I just want to see which team is going to play there in December and January with the away games. Then they're going away to Atleti. Yeah, it's going to be tough there for Bodo. Home to Spurs, rematch there. Slavia Praha away. Monaco at home. And Galatasaray away. If you look at that schedule, I'm going to be honest, and I love Bodo Glimt. There is one winnable game right now. One. Actually, maybe two. One of them is Slavia Praha away, even though Slavia Praha away from home at home last season in Europe, I think they were unbeaten and won every single game. And then they're hosting Monaco. I look at those two games for Bodo Glimt and I'm saying you can win those games. Otherwise, I mean, to beat Manchester City, to beat Juventus, to beat Spurs would be a sensational achievement here for Bodo Glimt. So if they make it into the playoffs, just even get into the 23, 22, 24 seed, if Bodo Glimt pull that off, build the team a statue all over Europe because that would be a sensational achievement. But yeah, it's going to be difficult, I think, with that draw. But I'll kind of predict it and see how the teams are faring as of right now. So yeah, biggest winners from pot 3 definitely is Napoli and Spurs. Biggest losers, PSV, Sporting, and Bodo Glimt. And if you look at the other teams like Olympiacos, hey, at least we get Olympiacos versus Pavos. So Greece versus Cyprus. You knew UEFA were going to do that as well with the draw. Excuse me, people. So that's going to be great to see. Maybe a lot of Pavos fans traveling away to Athens. Marseille, with their return to Europe, they're hosting Liverpool, away to Real Madrid, hosting Atalanta, Club Brugge, Ajax, Sporting, Newcastle, Royal Union Saint-Gilloise. If you're De Zerbi in Marseille, I mean, you cannot bottle this opportunity here. That is actually a pretty decent draw for Marseille. You know what? You could bump Marseille into being one of the winners of the Champions League draw. That's not difficult. For De Zerbi and his team, quality they have, maybe making some more signings like Ordonez in the center back role, pretty good deal. As long as Mama's boy is sold, that's just the number one thing I think for Marseille. All right, then we're going to look at the last pot, but I got to get my chargers, so give me a second, people. See, it's absolute chaos here, people. Absolute chaos. Ivan, I'll get back to this question at the end. Big up to you for tuning in as we're going to get to the pot 4 teams and then kind of talk about the best matchups from the draw. Let's get this up here for the pot 4 teams because there's a couple debutants here. A couple debutants that are it's just amazing. I'll say, people want to poo-poo some of these teams making it, but for me, it's an incredible achievement that they've made it to the league phase of the Champions League. Here, you got to look at Galatasaray and saying, look, Galatasaray have spent big money. So they're not just going to rock up here and saying, oh yeah, we're going to be happy if we just be competitive. No, you pay big money to sign Singo. You pay big money to get Osimhen. You sign Leroy Sané. Galatasaray should be trying to make it into the playoffs based on that money spent. And they're going to play Liverpool at home, Manchester City away, Atleti at home. I think Atleti at home, I think that's a pretty good matchup for Galatasaray. Away to Frankfurt, you're hosting Bodo Glimt, you're going away to Ajax, you're hosting Royal Union Saint-Gilloise, you're going away to Monaco. If you're Galatasaray, you should be making it to playoffs. Based on that draw, you should be making it to the playoffs. Come on, man. There is no excuses. I know Galatasaray are not the greatest team away from home in Europe, but with the money they have spent and the quality of players they have in their team, they need to be making it into the playoffs. I think it would be, with that draw, it would be one of the biggest fumbles if they don't make it into the playoffs. It's minimum playoff time for them. And then if you want to talk about another team that got, I would say, a pretty difficult draw, is Athletic Club PSG at home, Dortmund away, Arsenal at home, Atalanta away, Sporting at home, Slavia Praha away. Karabag at home is like the only game where you look like, okay, Athletic Club, that's a guaranteed 3 points. And then Newcastle away. That's not going to be easy for Athletic Club, and definitely for like La Liga if they want to get 5 teams again in the Champions League the next season, 26-27. They need Athletic Club to do well. They need Villarreal to do well. They need obviously Celta Vigo and Real Betis to do well. Yeah, I think for Athletic Club, that's pretty tough draw. Another team is Newcastle. Maybe you could say Newcastle based on the teams they're playing against. Barcelona at home, which I think is going to be amazing. Revenge game against PSG. Benfica at home. Bayer Leverkusen away. PSV at home. Marseille away. Athletic Club at home. Royal Union Saint-Gilloise away. I think for Newcastle, based on that draw, I'm going to look at maybe Benfica at home, a win. PSV at home, a win. Royal Union Saint-Gilloise away, a win. So I'm going to say that's like guaranteed 3 wins so far for Newcastle. I'm not trying to disrespect the other teams, but I'm looking at Newcastle and saying Newcastle are a good team. Obviously, they don't have a lot of experience in Europe. Obviously, Eddie Howe and some of the players do have some experience, but overall, they cannot compete with Barcelona and PSG Newcastle. They can't. Leverkusen away, I think that's pretty good matchup to see where both teams are at, especially I think more for Bayer Leverkusen. Yeah, I think that's a pretty tough draw for Newcastle. And then for the debutants like Pavos, Kairat, and Royal Union, look at Pavos, man. They're hosting Bayern Munich, going away to Chelsea, hosting Villarreal, going away to Juventus, Slavia Praha, obviously going away to Olympiacos, and Pavos are going away to Kairat. So at least maybe one of the debutants here are going to get a victory, which is amazing to see. It's just amazing to see. And Kairat, the second Kazakhstan club ever to make it into the Champions League after Astana, when was it, 2015 or 2016, somewhere around then? They're hosting Real Madrid, going away to the San Siro, home Club Brugge, away to the Emirates, hosting Olympiacos, going away to Sporting. Oh my God, that travel time between Kazakhstan and Portugal, that's got to be at least 13 hours. Oh my God. Oh, fair play to the Kazakhstan players for doing it. And then home Pavos and away to FC Copenhagen. Look, if you're Kairat, you're looking away FC Copenhagen, home to Pavos. I think Kairat can try and win those 2 games. And even winning a game would be such a monumental achievement for this team and such a huge payday for the players and the club. Yeah, I think for Kairat, that has to be at least. Yeah, Sporting Kairat is the longest UCL travel distance ever. Oh yeah, has to be. That has to be 7,000 kilometers. 7,000 kilometers. Boy, oh boy, that's going to be a long-ass journey for them. Otherwise, in this pot, I mean, it's quite difficult because they are pot 4 teams. But I'm looking at like Karabag. Yeah, they probably have the toughest draw, I think, from the pot 4 teams because they're hosting Chelsea, going away to Liverpool, hosting Frankfurt, away to Benfica, hosting Ajax, away to Napoli, hosting FC Copenhagen. You kind of look there for Karabag. That's 1 win there. 1 win. How many? I think 2 teams last season didn't get any victories. I want to say it was Slovan Bratislava and another team. I think it was Young Boys. Those were 2 teams that didn't get any victories at all. And based on this draw, I'm going to say Pavos and Karabag, they're the only teams where I'm like, yeah, they might not get a victory here. Might not. Maybe, yeah, those are the only 2 teams. So the biggest winners from pot 4, I would say, are Galatasaray, because it's not the most difficult for them with the money they spent and the quality of team they have. The biggest losers is Karabag. I would probably put also FC Copenhagen because they're hosting Dortmund. It's crazy because Yusuf Moukoko is going to go up against his old team. Going away to Barcelona, hosting Bayer Leverkusen, away to Villarreal, home to Napoli, away to Spurs, hosting Kairat, and away to Karabag. I look at that for FC Copenhagen and I'm saying, okay, you can win those 2 remaining games against the pot 4 teams. That's about it. So, yeah, look, the pot 4 teams, realistically, people, if you look at this, how many of the pot 4 teams will be a playoff team? I'm looking at Athletic Club, I'm looking at Galatasaray, I'm looking at Newcastle still, and that's about it. Yeah, that's about it. Wow, even Royal Union. I looked at Royal Union. They might have just gotten the worst draw of any team. Inter, Bayern, Atalanta, away to Atleti, Marseille, PSV, Newcastle, Galatasaray. Yeah, I think Royal Union just got the worst draw. The worst draw possible. Wow. As your first ever Champions League season and first time winning the league title in 90-something years. Yeah, Royal Union are in for a rude awakening, but they're an experienced European team. They've made it into the knockout stages of the Europa League, so they have experience, but this is the big boy league. This is where The stars are made and the stars play at. So for Royal Union, that might be the toughest draw of any team. Any team. Going away to some of those grounds is difficult. But yeah, that's the reaction, the winners and losers of the Champions League draw based on the pot 1 teams 2, 3, and 4. So let's talk about it. What is the best matchup? Actually, let's go through your comments here. Big up to Ivan. Let me go first through the super chat. Big up to Patricio, man. Thank you for the kind donation, but I really appreciate it. It says, waiting for that Real Madrid Marseille game to see Momo Henry break his team. Can't believe we got Kaira. Hey, bro. Patricio, you should be honored. You should feel there should be a huge honor for Real Madrid fans. You're going away to Kazakhstan. You're going to be the only big team to travel away there, or one of the only big teams to travel away there. It's a great moment for Real Madrid. Now, I'm intrigued to see when they're going to place that game, if it's like before an El Clasico, because that would be even more hilarious. But yeah, I think for the Henny, I think the XBT, expected broken televisions for that game, I'm going to go 4.5 against Real Madrid. Yeah, I'm going to go XBT 4.5. But big up, Patricio. Thank you for the kind donation. Really appreciate it. Can't believe you said Newcastle can't compete with PSG and Barca. Well, look at the quality. Look, I'm not going to disrespect Newcastle because they're a good team. But if you're telling me Newcastle can beat PSG and Barcelona, maybe they could beat Barcelona at home. Newcastle still, we don't know what their forward line is. Maybe they're obviously gonna sign Voltman. It's still gonna be very difficult for Newcastle. Where Newcastle, yes, they have now they got some experience in Europe, but still, this is Barcelona and PSG, two of the best teams in Europe. If Newcastle beat one of those two teams, wow, Eddie Howe, put your hands up and I will applaud you for a great performance. So I'm not saying that Newcastle are bums or like, oh, they cannot be one of these two teams. On their day, they can, but let's be honest here. Still, PSG and Barcelona can beat Newcastle. Big up to Ivan. The man said, Ivan, the dictator. Hi, Mike. Who do you see the dark horses in the Champions League? And random question. Who is the favorite worst coach? Who is my favorite worst coach? The worst coach I've ever seen is Jorge Sampaoli. I think the dude is the biggest fraud I've ever seen in football history. Absolutely horrific manager. One achievement in this career, or two. You could say Universidad de Chile, and obviously with the Chilean national team. Otherwise, Jorge Sampaoli is the worst. And who do I think is the dark horses in the Champions League this season? I got to go with Napoli. I just think Napoli, yes, it's Antonio Conte. He doesn't have the greatest record in Europe, but you still have to look at the team they have, at the manager, and say, Antonio Conte, you should be doing better in Europe. Based on what the team he has, I think he should be doing better. So I would say Napoli as dark horses. Otherwise, maybe Spurs. Maybe Spurs, if they can get some reinforcement in the forward line. If they can get some reinforcement in the forward line, I'll be like, yeah, you know what? Spurs could make it to like a round of 16 quarterfinal because I really like Thomas Frank. I don't care how it's going to end up with Spurs, because we've seen a couple of times with these Spurs managers, Espirito Santo, we saw with Ange, where they had a wonderful start and it all fizzled out, and then all the Spurs fans hate the manager. I still think Thomas Frank will do well, and I think they could be a dark horse this season in the Champions League. Otherwise, keep an eye on Villarreal, people. Keep an eye on Villarreal, because Marcelino and those guys, they can score against any team, and they are a sensational team to watch, and their games are going to be super high scoring, so I'm kind of looking at Villarreal and saying, I think they can do something here. So I would have Villarreal, Napoli, and Spurs as my dark horses to kind of make it to a quarterfinal. Not to win it, not to make it to the semifinal, but definitely to make it at least to the quarterfinal. Big up, Andrew. Big up, Michael. I'm quite happy with the Bayern Munich match. It's not the hardest, but also not the easiest. Should be a good test. I think Spurs also may get top 8 looking at the schedule. Yeah, I would expect it as well. Big up, Coco. What are the top 3 teams you're excited to watch this season in the UCL? 1, Villarreal. I just love the team, man. I just think if they can get Mika Dautze from Lyon, watch out, people. Watch out. That's going to be a great move from them. Otherwise, if I'm going to look at like top 3 other exciting teams, I'm excited to see what... You know what? Not really like excited, but I'm more intrigued to see what are Bayer Leverkusen going to do with Ten Hag. That's more like a team where I'm like, because we can say like PSG, Barcelona, Liverpool. Those are the easy answers, but I'm intrigued to see how it goes down with Bayer Leverkusen in the Champions League, and can Ten Hag kind of rectify his status now in football because it's really much in the gutter and people keep on clowning the manager, even though I think Ten Hag is a good manager, but he's got a tough test ahead of him with a lot of new players, but they signed some good players. So yeah, I'm excited to see what Ten Hag and what they can do. And the last team, I mean, yeah, I'm going to be biased here. I'm going to say Bodo Glimt. I just think Bodo Glimt at home is going to be exciting. Away from home, I just don't think they're going to be competitive enough with some of the teams they're going to go up against. So yeah, those would be my three teams I'm super excited to see and watch. Yeah, Villarreal, low-key, 100%. Don't worry, people. All the international football content will be up on the channel very, very soon. Big Up Bingo says, Big Up Michael. After people said our Europa League win don't matter, we will get tougher teams. We ended up getting a Europa League draw low. Yeah, I think Mingo, for a Spurs fan, I think it's a pretty good draw. I really think it's a pretty good draw. Like, yes, you have some tough opponents, but I'm looking at Spurs and I'm saying you still have some quality. You got Thomas Frank, a very good tactician. Should be fine. Spurs should be aiming top 10, top 12. That should be their minimum achievement and aim with this draw. Big Up Danny says, do you think Union Saint-Gilloise can do something this season? No. I think they got a really, really, really tricky draw, Royal Union. I want to see it, but at least we're going to see and we're going to determine who is the better league, the Belgian league or the Eredivisie. Because Royal Union is going up against the champions of Eredivisie, PSV. So we're going to finally settle this debate because this has kind of been a little mini debate that I've always had in my mind is who's going to win, the Eredivisie or the Belgian Pro League? We're going to settle it right here. We're going to settle it right here, people. Big Up Sigmund says, I think Benfica had a pretty bad draw. We are building an interesting team in competition. Sudakov is also coming to us apparently. Oh, really? Sudakov? Damn. I like Sudakov, man. I think he's a good player, but a little bit too inconsistent. So let's see how he can do in that league. I just think, Echeverri would have been so game-changing, I think, for Benfica. If they got Echeverri, mamma mia. But really, it's going to be tough to go through. Yeah, it is going to be tough, I think, for Benfica based on that draw. Yep, I'm happy to see Pavlos as well. The fact that we're going to see David Luiz, maybe at 38, appear in the Champions League, football heritage, people. Football heritage. Who do you think would finish outside the top 24 amongst the top teams? Oh, you're going to have to check out my prediction stage. I'm not going to give it away. I can't give you spoilers. If I gave out the spoilers, you're not going to watch the film. Come on. No, I'm not going to give that away. But I'm looking at one team. Danny says, the Belgian Pro League is much better in my opinion. There are no good Dutch teams outside of PSV. Well, I think Ajax are really in trouble this season. I really think Ajax are in trouble this season. I don't know why. I just don't think they haven't done anything really in the transfer window. And yes, Heintiga can do well, but I think Farioli just did magical things with that Ajax squad. And I think we're going to really get a reality check. Like, Weghorst is the starting striker, basically, because Brobbey is just not good enough. So, actually, do we think, people, that Royal Union and Club Brugge have a better opportunity of making it to the playoffs compared to the Eredivisie teams of PSV and Ajax? Is that what we're saying here, people? That would be crazy. That would be crazy if that is the case. No way. Newcastle want to place 100 million. There is no way. Farioli is already doing great things with Porto, so yeah. Well, I tried to tell you, Farioli is a magician. Look at what he's going to do with Porto. If Porto were in the Champions League, I would have said that Porto could be a sleeper team this season because I really like the way they're playing. I think they made some really good business. So, yeah. Big Up. I think Ajax got easy draw. Brugge and Union is quite tough draw. Yes, it is. All right, so let's now talk about the best matches. We're going to be here for about 10 more minutes, and then I'm going to call it here quits. Big up to everybody for your kind donations. Big up to Patricio. Big up to RDS, and big up to Jeff Serrano for the kind donations. And remember to hit the like button, people. We got 113 people watching. We haven't even reached 100 likes. I'm giving you analysis for Kairat. I'm giving you analysis for Club Brugge. I'm giving you analysis for Olympiacos. What other channel does that? Name it. They will only talk about Liverpool. Real Madrid. Barcelona. Come on, man. We got to talk about all the other teams here. So best matches for me, in no particular order. These are games I'm really looking forward to. And you give your best matches or hipster pick as well. Best matches, PSG Bayern. I just think it's going to be sensational as always. Chelsea Barcelona because one, we got Chelsea, up and coming team, hosting Barcelona at home. Lamine Yamal going up against a Premier League side. That's what we want to see, people. Liverpool, Real Madrid. Do I need to explain myself? No, I do not. Barcelona, PSG, because maybe people could argue that that should have been the final last year between those two teams, but now we're going to get it. Dembele returning back again to the Montjuic or hopefully the Camp Nou. Yeah, I think Barcelona, PSG is going to be sensational. That game could easily be 3-4, 4-3 for either side. It could be 3-3 because, yeah, PSG are quite good defensively, but there's no more Donnarumma. I do like Lucas Xavier, but is he Donnarumma's level? Not quite for me. Then Kairat versus Real Madrid because, I mean, come on, man. Real Madrid traveling all the way to Kairat is just, for me, amazing. Amazing. Like, how can you explain that to somebody in 20 years' time? You're going to tell your kids, if you're going to have kids, if you're planning to have kids, hey, son or daughter, you're going to be like, it was a fateful night. December, let's say 7th. Real Madrid traveled all the way to Kazakhstan and played a team called Kairat, and maybe they lost. Can you imagine if Real Madrid travel all the way to Kairat and they lose the game? Oh, that would be great. So for me, that's one of the best matchups because I just think the fact that Kairat are going to host a game like that is just everything they have dreamt of in their history. Then Arsenal versus Atletico because, I mean, how do you describe that game? I mean, the shenanigans we're going to see on the touchline between those two managers. Both teams have been spent a lot of money in the last 2 seasons. I'm expecting to see some decent football, but with those two managers, who knows what we're going to see? We're going to see a lot of antics on the sideline, that's for sure, between Arsenal and Atleti. Then the next game is Bodo Glimt versus Tottenham because I think it'll be a better matchup. Ange was super defensive, although maybe Thomas Frank understands that, oh no, Bodo Glimt are a good team. So I'm going to be a little bit more defensive there. Another game, Olympiacos versus Pavos because it is Greece versus Cyprus. And the last game for me is Newcastle up against Athletic Club because I think Newcastle can win that game. And if you're Athletic Club, you have to win that game to give yourself some self-respect. And as a team, as a guy who really likes Athletic Club, I'm expecting Athletic Club to give some revenge to the Premier League after the shellacking they got against Manchester United in the Europa League semi-final. Athletic Club need to put some self-respect on themselves after that loss. So go all the way to St. James's Park. I think it's the perfect environment to do it. And midfield-wise, I think Newcastle could really hurt. Even though, Athletic Club have some good midfielders, but Newcastle's midfield is just such a different type of midfield to what we have in football nowadays. That's why I really like it. So yeah, those are the best matchups for me, and I want to know your thoughts in the comments down below. What is for you the best matchup? What's the biggest hipster matchup you can think of? Who are the winners? Who are the losers of the Champions League draw? And mind you, people, I think the schedule will come out tomorrow, Danny, so don't you worry. We're going to have a lot of content here on the channel. I'm going to give you my predictions. I'm going to give you some dark horse kind of predictions as well, who I think can be a dark horse this season in the Champions League. How will the Pot 4 teams do? Pot 3 teams. So stay tuned for that, people. We're going to talk about maybe 10 players to watch in the Champions League this season with other teams. So if you like that sort of content and you want to catch up with everything Champions League, this is the channel to be. Saturday, thank you very much, people. Remember to hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're new around here for more Champions League content. We're going to have so much here. Now we're going to have a lot of international football content for this week and next week. Next week, I'm going to try and get out the Champions League predictions. So stay tuned for that here on the channel. Remember to hit the like button and subscribe if you're new around here. Have a beautiful day. Stay safe in this crazy world and get your thoughts in the comments down below. Adios, everybody, and thank you for all your kind donations.